Like I said, I know it. So if you can do this at home, it's definitely way more fun to do it at home. But if you can't, you're just going to follow along and do it with me. All right, so we're going to do our first one. And our first variable is changing the height. So we need our small lid, our object, and we're going to do half of a ruler, so 6 inches, and then we're going to do the whole ruler at the top. And you're definitely going to have to kind of guesstimate because if you have 2 people, you can do it a little more. All right, so I'm going to drop. And I'm going to move. And try 12 inches, so all the way at the top, and then drop. All right. Let's see what we got here. I want you, this was our short one, hardly made any dent at all. And then our last one, and notice how much white you see because it pushed the cocoa powder out of the way and it really made a huge crater. All right, so we're going to measure from, see how this has a rise? We're going to go from the side to the side, which is diameter. This one doesn't have any rise. It really just flattens the cocoa powder. We're going to go from the side to the side. So all you're going to do, and I would recommend measuring in centimeters. And again, you're using a ruler, so it's not going to be exact, but we're going to be as precise as we can. So I'm going to set it over, find the thickest part, which is the diameter right through the middle, and it is about 4.5 centimeters. So on your height one, write 6 inches. We just did that because it's half a ruler. We could do it in centimeters. So it would be 15 centimeters. And this one was 4.5 centimeters. That's the diameter. All right, now I'm going to do the one from the hump to the hump, 6 centimeters. You can see. So our first one was 6 inches, or 15 centimeters. This was 12 inches, or 30 centimeters. Our diameter of our small height was 4.5. The diameter of the tall height was 6 meters. Oh, centimeters. All right, so now we're going to write our conclusion. I can conclude that the greater height does what? Makes what kind of a crater? Larger crater. Which we probably would have guessed from what we know, but it's always fun to test it. All right, so now we're going to do how the size of the object affects the crater. So we have a little object. Oh, no, we have a big object. And we have a little object, but we put a little bit of flour in it so it's about the same weight or mass. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. Now these, we're going to drop them all from the same height. So we have to have it slowly, slowly up. Everything is the same except for what we're testing. So I'm just going to rotate my tray around so I have a clear space. And this time we're going all the way up to the top. So all the way to the top of your ruler. Ooh, look at that one. I can actually leave that one in there because I have 2 different circles now. Not quite spheres. All right, I'm going to carefully shake these out. Hopefully you're not making too big of a mess. And we're going to measure from peak to peak. This one looks like 5.5, so the small lid is 5.5. 4.5 centimeters. And the big lid is 7 centimeters. All right. So our small lid with a little bit of weight, so it's the same mass, 5.5. Our large lid was 7 centimeters. We're going to write our conclusion. I can conclude that what objects make larger craters? Larger objects make larger craters. All right, I'll give you a minute to make sure your conclusion is written down. And then I just flipped my tray around so I had a little bit of space. Now this time we're affecting the mass. That's what we're testing. So we want our 2 small lids, one that's empty, I'm going to do that one right here, and one that is filled with sugar, so it's really, really heavy. And we're going to do them all the same height, the top of the ruler. I drop my one object, I'm going to move my ruler over. Take my heavy lid, same size. Wow, that was the best one yet. You can see. All right, we're going to pull it up. Look what a mess it made. So I'm going to have to measure from here to here because it hit this side. Look how deep that crater is. So not only is it affecting the diameter, it's affecting the depth. All right, my ruler is getting nice and dirty. All right, so our first one, oh, it's about the same as our first one, 4.5, which makes sense because it's the same lid. Now, if you were really doing this experiment as a real scientist, you would want to test this multiple times and take an average or mean. But because we're a little limited with our materials and space, all right, so this is about 7, which is similar to our larger lid. You can see what I'm writing. So our lid with sugar, oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Was 7 centimeters, and our empty lid was 4.5 centimeters. And I'm going to do our big lid. I don't know what's at the depth. It looks like it's about 1 centimeter, and this one looks to be almost 2 centimeters. So really, it affects the diameter and the depth. So I can conclude that heavier objects make larger and deeper craters. All right, so my question for you is, what can this tell us about the size of the craters on the moon? Because one of these variables can't be changed. Which variable couldn't affect the size of craters on the moon? So let me ask a couple of yes or no questions. Could craters have a greater, could meteors and meteorites, when they hit, could they have different masses? Could you have one that's really heavy and one that's not so heavy? Sure. Sure you could, if they're made of different materials and different sizes, more mass. Could you have bigger and smaller meteors? Sure. You could have teensy tiny ones and little ones. Could some meteors fall from a short height and some from a big height? No, because they're all falling at the same height. They're going into the atmosphere of Earth or from space to the moon. So they're not falling from a different height. It isn't like when we drop them, right? They're coming down from the same place, space. So all the sizes on the moon, the different images are impacted by the size and the weight of the meteor. All right, I hope this was fun. I love doing experiments, and this was a fun one to do to see how the Earth is affected. If you're doing this at home, test it out a few more times, try a few other objects, and I'll see you all in another day. Have a great day.